Radio Pasión te invita a escuchar
Apetito por la vida, un espacio para ti que te atreves a decirle sí a la vida.
Con la coach de vida, Alma González.
A buscar alternativas para amarte y ser feliz. Y a liberar tu magia interior que te guía siempre para tener apetito por la vida. ¡Bienvenido!
Aquí en Radio Pasión US, seduciendo tus sentidos.
Hola, soy Alma González y estás escuchando Apetito por la vida. Muchas gracias por acompañarme en este espacio en el que compartimos tips y herramientas de diferentes especialistas y personas que decidieron decirle sí a la vida, sí a amarse y a ser felices. Si quieres contactarme de manera directa, te invito a que me escribas en www.amatucuerpo.com.mx. Te mando un fuerte abrazo y espero que disfrutes muchísimo de este programa en el que me acompaña el día de hoy Swathi Reddy. She possesses a profound passion for guiding singles on their journey to discovering their lifelong companions. She helps singles find love and happiness. She is an experienced relationship coach, mindfulness mentor and teacher, and sacred depths coach. Muy buenas tardes a todos mis hermosísimos body lovers. ¿Cómo están el día de hoy? Mi nombre es Alma González y los saludo en un programa más de Apetito por la Vida. Este espacio en el que te compartimos tips, herramientas y especialistas para facilitar tu apetito por la vida. Y bueno, pues hoy estamos en el programa número 98, acercándonos ya al programa número 100. Estoy muy emocionada. No puedo creer que haya pues sido ya más de 98 semanas con más de 98 especialistas que hayan compartido qué les da apetito por la vida y cómo podemos desarrollarlo en nosotros mismos. Ha sido una experiencia súper bonita y estoy muy agradecida por eso. Y bueno, estamos transmitiendo este programa a través de Radio Pasión US, Seduciendo tus Sentidos, esta radiodifusora a través de la cual llegamos en Apetito por la Vida a más de 65 países, en Estados Unidos, México, Latinoamérica y Europa. Así es que los saludo con mucho, mucho cariño hoy. Y fíjense que esta semana estoy leyendo este libro que se llama El don de tu alma. Y en el don de tu alma, fíjense, les voy a leer. Ahorita les voy a presentar a nuestra especialista de hoy que se llama Swathi, pero antes les quiero leer algo que me llamó mucho la atención porque este va a ser un programa especial. Es uno de los primeros programas en los que me voy a atrever a hablar en inglés. Y bueno, pues para mí es un reto porque nunca he hecho un programa en inglés, así es que, bueno, pues la oportunidad se presentó y como dicen, pues siempre tenemos que tomar las oportunidades que nos gustan, que nos hacen sentir bien, que nos retan. Y justo leí esto durante la semana que dice, el universo apoya siempre una decisión valiente, pero también te exige no quedarte estancado y que continúes tomando una decisión valiente tras otra. Este es un extracto de Robert Schwartz de su libro El don de tu alma. Y bueno, pues justo a tiempo porque esta para mí es una decisión valiente. Puede parecer muy pequeño, muy grande, no sé, pero para mí es una decisión que me reta, que me lleva al siguiente escalón de donde quiero construir esta carrera de ser speaker a nivel internacional. Y bueno, pues aquí estamos en Apetito por la Vida. Y bueno, pues quiero presentarles a nuestra especialista el día de hoy. Ella se llama Swathi Reddy. Swathi, bueno, voy a hacer este programa en inglés y en español, entonces va a ser un programa como tipo Spanglish. Y bueno, la voy a presentar, ya vamos a empezar con la introducción para ella. Les comento que pueden ponerle subtítulos las personas que nos están viendo a través de YouTube y de todas nuestras redes sociales, le pueden poner subtítulos, y las que nos están escuchando directamente en Radio Pasión US, voy a estar comentando en español y en inglés para que nadie nos perdamos absolutamente nada de este maravilloso programa. And well, Swathi, I am just talking about this, this is the first time that I do this in English. So I'm going to introduce you, and then we're going to start talking. Well, Swathi Reddy, she possesses a profound passion for guiding singles on their journey to discovering their lifelong companions. She helps singles find love and happiness. She is an experienced relationship coach, mindfulness mentor and teacher, and sacred depths coach. So, Swathi, welcome to Apetito por la Vida. I'm super happy, excited, and kind of nervous with this interview, but thank you for experiencing this new laboratory with me in Apetito por la Vida. How are you today?
Yeah, thank you, Alma. I am doing so well. That was such a beautiful introduction. Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Great. So I was telling the people in Mexico and all Latin American audience that this is a very big challenge and new step in my career, because I want to become an international speaker. So this is the first time that I'm doing an interview in English. And I just wanted to share a little bit with you and your audience that are also listening to us, that I found something in a book that I was reading this week that makes my heart like beating a lot once that I told you about this interview, and it says something like this: the universe always supports a brave decision, but also requires you not to stay stagnant and to continue making one brave decision after another. This is a extract from Robert Schwartz's book, The Gift of Your Soul. And well, this is like a very brave, let's say, decision for me. So I'm super happy. And I know the universe will support us, because we have a lot of projects together. And well, I'm super happy that you are here and that you are, the first one in this experience in English, Spanish things. So welcome, Swathi.
Thank you so much. That is a beautiful quote.
Well, and today we're going to talk about relationships, right? The title of the program here in Apetito por la Vida is Your Health Depends on Good Relationships. So we're going, as Swathi is an expert in relationships, we are going to deep down in relationships. And I want to open this program with you, Swathi, asking you, when we think, I'm going to talk about you, okay? When I think about relationships, the first thing that comes to my mind is couple relationships. But there are more. Even you are related with everything and everyone in this universe all day long, right? But just for understanding the subject of this interview, what are the top relationships that you can mention that a human being develops during its life?
Yeah, that is such a good question. I think you nailed it. You know, we are in relationship with all different people, right? And even animals and nature. So when I look at, health and relationships, yes, the intimate relationships matter a lot for sure. They have a huge impact. But I think it also matters who you work with. Not, many of us don't have control who our coworkers are, but we've all heard of stories of toxic relationships, of, bosses that are not so kind. And, when we think about romantic relationships, a lot of the fundamentals comes from how we're raised. Our first and primary relationships with our parents, right? so significant and really carve out the trajectory of all of our relationships. And here's one thing that I learned along the way that doesn't just apply to romantic relationships. When we don't heal the patterns of our wounding, that pattern is going to show up in any relationship, in your romantic relationship, with your coworkers, with your boss, with your neighbors. So really what I want to focus on, yes, I primarily work with, singles, but it's really about figuring out what is the underlying pattern that is keeping that person attracting the same type of relationship. And for me, that's a huge opportunity for that person to grow, to really dig deep into that pattern, to uncover what is going on there. And then once that is fixed energetically, then it just magically just shifts. It shifts your energy, and therefore it shifts who you attract.
That's wonderful, because as you were talking, I was thinking on one of the most intimate relationships that we have, and perhaps we don't notice all the time, is with ourselves, right? And those patterns that you were talking about, they are part of our relationship with ourselves, the way we feel, the way we think, and then the way we act and relate to others. So if we don't understand, if we don't know, and if we are not curious to see those patterns and how I relate with myself through those patterns, it's kind of difficult, right? To understand when I have a conflict with you or with my coworker, and well, there's always the blame, right? Because we don't even understand. It's not that we don't want to be responsible for the conflicts, let's say like this, but we don't understand us. I mean, each one of us. So that's huge. I mean, understand, and if you can see one of the 10 patterns that give you all the actions, I don't know, 100 actions that you took every day with every relationship you take, you get in touch in that day, it's like a very big step, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, you're the common denominator, right? Your world is based on your perception and how you think and feel and, project and internalize. So yeah, absolutely. Having that deep curiosity about the self, to me, is fascinating. And I just also want to say, it's not about being perfect. It's not, it is not a goal to try to get somewhere. It is just being absolutely fascinated with the process.
Yeah. Well, sometimes it's not fascinating to deep understand and know yourself and your things, but I mean, yeah, it's in that there's also a big fascinating process. So if you're open in your heart and your mind to do it, I mean, everything is possible, right? And it's not about perfection. It's about understanding and being compassionate and being empathic. I say first with ourselves, and then you can do it with the others, right?
Yes, 100%. You can only give what you have.
Exactly. So let me try to quote this a little bit in Spanish so the people that are listening to us in Spanish don't miss anything. Estamos hablando de las relaciones, que las relaciones obviamente van más allá de relaciones amorosas, que tocan otro tipo de relaciones. Todo el tiempo estamos atentos con las relaciones de trabajo, con las relaciones familiares, incluso con algún tipo de relación con las cosas, ¿no? Con las experiencias, con todo lo que acontece. Entonces, Swathi nos está hablando que es muy importante y que ella es en donde ayuda a entender cuáles son esos patrones internos que nos llevan a comportarnos de una manera u otra con las personas y con las otras relaciones. Que entender esos patrones que vienen marcados de cómo se dio la relación, lo que aprendimos en casa a través de mamá y papá. Muchos de esos patrones permanecen y son los más dominantes, por así decirlo. Entenderlos nos da la oportunidad inmensa de sanar y de podernos transformar. Entonces, bueno, estamos aquí entendiendo que las relaciones son más allá de solamente una relación amorosa y cómo identificar esos patrones para poder sanar, para poder evitar conflictos y por supuesto para poder relacionarnos desde otro punto con otros. So, Swathi, I have a question. We're going to talk about how conflict impacts, how conflict in relationships impacts directly in our bodies. But first, I would love to ask you how much conflict is normal or enough in a relationship? I mean, and what kind of conflict it will help us to transform, and what kind of conflicts will put us in the garbage, right?
Yeah. So conflict, there is some conflict sounds very aggressive. I think disagreements are normal, and some conflict can feel like conflict, and there could be that point of tension between two people. But ultimately, if the two people can talk through it a few hours later, maybe a day later, if you need some space, but really talk through it and find solutions together. Understand, deeply listen, and find solutions together, then that can be healthy conflict. Like, that's okay. We're all different. But the conflict that becomes toxic, and boy, I have stories to tell you, is conflict where it is so intense and there is no resolution. And that intensity really comes from those deep patterns of wounding that I talk about, without any support or any way of really hearing each other deeply. And it just really starts to pull people apart over time. So that kind of conflict, like you said, will not only make us feel like garbage, but our bodies too take a huge toll.
Yes, I was going, well, that was the word that comes to my mind, right? Like garbage, because sometimes you feel like that.
Yes.
But how would you say that we can identify the difference between disagreement and conflict? You already said two things about conflicts that could be the alarms. That you said it's something that becomes very intense and something that you think that has no resolution, because always things have a solution, right? But when sometimes you feel like it doesn't have a resolution. So how can you identify if I am, for example, working with someone and it feels like, my body comes in these signals, right? Like there is something wrong about this. I don't feel comfortable. I feel nervous all the time, like waiting for him or she to gel, for example. How can we identify three things that put us on alarm and say, okay, you need to check about this relationship because for sure it's going to the conflict way?
Yeah, I think your body is the key. And it is such a personalized response. Sometimes when the conflict arises, you might get triggered and your body might go into that, fight, flight, or fawn or freeze response. But that doesn't mean that, this is the big conflict and you should run away. Because, my husband and I, we still have those moments, right? But I know that just because my body is feeling that way in the moment doesn't mean that the issue is with my husband. I know now, working on this and on myself for a long time, that is just my body, that something got triggered. An old pattern, an old wound got triggered. And I just sit with it. I get quiet, sometimes maybe not to my husband's liking, but I get very quiet. And I'm just really present for my body. Where am I feeling tightness? Where am I feeling contracted? What's coming up? And for me, it takes a while for it to kind of naturally unwind and relax. And then I'm able to, talk to my husband and we'll work things out. The conflict where you don't have that release in the body, where you don't have that opportunity of feeling safe and then approaching the person to talk through this conflict, and you're constantly tight, you're constantly walking on eggshells, and there's no resolution. And in fact, your history with this person, the conflict usually tends to increase. So that is kind of the barometer that I use. How often is it happening? How long have you been in the relationship? And is the conflict, steadily kind of increasing over time? Or there's no resolution to, whatever the situation is.
I love when you said that the body is our response because, well, my company, it's named Love Your Body and Your Soul, right? And love your body means to hear your body. I talk a lot about conscious food or the way you gain weight because you are always like in a mental and emotional conflict, and then your body needs to protect itself, and it comes like the big food urge. And well, I'm not gonna be there, but what I'm trying to say is that our body knows better than us always. And conflict is like a huge body experience because in Ama Tu Cuerpo, in Love Your Body, my company, I always say we have one body, our physical body, but it's not only one, it's 4 bodies in one body, right? It's your spiritual, your mental, your emotional, and your physical body. Mm-hmm. So when it comes from a conflict, well, in your physical body, you can recognize some signals, right? You feel maybe angry and you start like sweating and you feel hot, and there's another reactions, more deeply reactions, the cortisol and those hormones that help you run or freeze or whatever. But also in your emotional body, there's responses, How do you feel? What are the feelings that you are experiencing through the conflict? And then the mental responses that we have, right? What am I thinking about the other? But also, and this is important, and this helps me a lot in order to not react to the conflict, but just to learn from conflicts, is what am I feeling and what am I thinking about me with this conflict? When Swathi comes and tells me something that makes me angry, what am I thinking about me with the comment that Swathi said? And that little switch to the way you think in the conflict, well, for me, it's a very helpful, like switcher to not to react intensively to that conflict.
Yeah, absolutely. And here's the thing though, it sounds very simplistic to say this out loud, and it sounds simplistic because, you and I, we've kind of been doing this work for a long time. And for the listeners out there who are, still trying to figure all of this out, like, keep at it. You are essentially training your brain you're literally training your brain pathways and to really create that space between the trigger and between how you respond. And that does not happen overnight. And there are times and places where you're really amazed at your capacity. And there are times and places, even for me, when I completely lose it. And that is okay too. Like, that's just part of being human. But yeah, absolutely, Alma, I agree with you.
I'm super fan to our body. Whenever you don't have the answer, your body always have the answer, and you don't need to understand it. You just need to feel it through your body, through the reactions of your body, how you feel, so sometimes we are numbed and you don't even feel your body, right? Sometimes when a consultant comes and a coachee comes for the consultant and I say, okay, you had this conflict. How did you feel? But no, like your emotions, but your body. What happened with your body? And they are like, I don't know. What part of your body was the one that experienced that impact or that conflict? And they have very big troubles to remember themselves and their body reactions, no? Because there's always a body reactions. So I will really like to ask you for the next part of the interview. First, we're going to go to your song, your favorite song. But I would love you to share with us what are the 3 impacts that happens in our body when we have a conflict, okay? And well, let's go to your favorite song. We are here in Apetito por la Vida. This is the program, the 98th program that we are celebrating, and the first in English. So, well, let's go to our favorite song for Swathi. And Swathi, it's remind me and help me with the pronunciation, because it is like a hard word.
Yes. So this song is called Lateralis by Tool, my favorite band.
Great. Let's hear Lateralis. Muy bien, estamos aquí en Apetito por la Vida. Ya regresamos de escuchar la canción de Swathi, Lateralis. Y bueno, estamos hoy hablando de cómo los conflictos en las relaciones nos impactan en el cuerpo. Mi nombre es Alma González y estoy con Swathi Reddy. Ella es especialista en relaciones y en buscarle felicidad y pareja a los solteros, pero hoy estamos específicamente viendo cómo tener conflictos pues nos impacta en el cuerpo. Ya revisamos qué tipo de relaciones hay, cuál es la diferencia entre un conflicto y un desacuerdo, cómo poder identificar cuando es un conflicto y hay que atenderlo y cuando solamente es un desacuerdo. Estábamos hablando que los conflictos pues es toda una experiencia corporal, ¿no? Desde ama tu cuerpo, en el cuerpo físico, ¿no? ¿Qué reacciones tiene mi cuerpo? ¿Se calienta? ¿Me quedo paralizado? ¿Qué hago con eso? En el cuerpo emocional, ¿no? ¿Cuáles son mis sentimientos? ¿Estoy enojado, triste, frustrado, ansioso? ¿Qué es lo que está pasando ahí? ¿Y qué estoy pensando? Y platicábamos de un tip que puede parecer muy vago, muy básico, pero que es una maravilla en cuanto a conflictos con relaciones con otras personas hay o con experiencias, ¿no? No solo tiene que ver con personas, que es ¿qué estoy pensando de mí cuando se está activando ese conflicto? Si alguien me dice algo que me hace sentir de X manera y que para mí supone un conflicto, ¿qué estoy pensando de mí? Ir siempre a nuestro interior, pues es quien nos ayuda también a que ese conflicto se pueda transformar. Well, I gave a little resume about our previous talk, and I wanted to ask you, Swathi, what are the most common or the top 3 impacts that our body receives within a conflict?
So Alma, I think I can best illustrate this by sharing my own story. Is that okay?
Yes, it's
Okay.
perfect. Actually, I had that question. It was for you. Yeah, I was thinking on that. Yeah, if you can give us an example, your worst, toughest ever conflict, and how did you transform it into a blessing? Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So the younger me, about almost 2 decades ago now, this was when I was in college. I met someone who I was so like, aka in love, but pure infatuation, right? And there were a lot of parts of me that hadn't come online yet. So I was deeply drawn to this person. He was drawn to me. And for a number of years in our 20s, we had a very volatile relationship. A lot of drama, a lot of the conflict that we're talking about, right? I mean, we were both like drinking, partying, and which, yes, a lot of, 20-year-olds do, but it became very unhealthy. And one night we were playing pool, billiards,
Yeah.
with some of his friends. And that night led to what I call a slap in the face, right? And it was literal and figurative. So later that night, we had gone to his friend's house. We were hanging out more. One thing led to another. We were drinking, and then there was drama. We were fighting. And then I think I had kind of like, grabbed his jacket because I was trying to get the car keys, and he didn't want me to drive because I was drinking. And he turns around and punched me in the face. And there was just kind of this shock and numbness. And I mean, blood dripping down. I go to the bathroom, trying to clean up and trying to make sense of what happened. And no one was there to come to and see if I was okay. So fast forward a little bit. Now there's this tension. This has happened. This is reality. And we were living together. And it just, I mean, all of the years of tension, this is a peak moment. And then what followed, we're trying to get restraining orders because, he didn't want to leave. And then when he finally did, he was stalking me. And that went on for a couple of years. So altogether, this was probably a 6 to 7 year journey we're talking about. And I will tell you, after I made the decision, and thanks to the lady who was on that crisis on the domestic violence hotline, who said, please go no contact. And I'm so glad I listened to her, because from that day on, I have not been in contact with this person ever. And however, that did not stop me from taking that hit to my body, right? As you mentioned, the physical body, the emotional body, the mental body, the spiritual body. So I went into a decade long, if not longer, depression, right? Going in through the depression that, some people call it the dark night of the soul. I don't know. I'm glad I found a way out. But depression and drinking a lot and isolation and binge eating, binge watching, right? Like all of these bodies were numb and were wanting to just protect because of all of that conflict, because of all of the trauma. So to answer your question, right, it is vast. So what happened as a result? I gained weight. My hormones have been out of whack. I developed allergies, developed some autoimmune issues, like all of these things. And I'm still navigating through that. And that's why my passion is around relationships. And especially if I can bring the skills and the message to younger people, which I know, sometimes you have to live life to like understand, but also I think it's, it is avoidable. I think these are skills that we just don't teach people. Young people, old people. I mean, I would love for something like this to be part of the school curriculum, right? How do you handle conflict? How do you listen to your body? How do you sense into your intuition and make those decisions for you? I think it is all possible, and I want to make that happen. So yeah, my body is still healing from it. And I'm just so, thrilled that I have a loving husband now, and I can really kind of heal in this safe space.
Thank you for sharing and be open with us about yourself. And that is, I think, the best way to share with people, with our experience, right? I'm pretty sure that you learned a lot about yourself in this whole process that took you a lot of years. And well, in your body, it's something so beautiful about body here. And as my topic, yes, it's love your body, because that's what I coach and what I share with people. More than coaching is sharing with people. I have also like a very difficult situation, and then I got 2 years of depression. I got weight and blah, blah, blah. That is a story for another interview. But I mean, the body helps us always to give us what we need to understand and what we need to learn, right? Those hormones disbalance, that depression, that anxiousness, all the symptoms that your body gives you, like a big alarms, they are there, so you can go into yourself, right? So you can heal by, hearing yourself. As you said, what made me learn this experience? If we neutralize the big and difficult experience that each one of us have through our lives, they are like big blessings. If we can see, and if we are open to see us through those experiences, right? I'm not saying that what you lived, it was not important or it was less. I'm just saying that if we are open to realize why we needed to live this in order to learn about us and in order to heal, because I'm pretty sure, and that's one of my questions, right, for you, how to heal. What did you heal with this experience that you have? And if you can give us some suggestions, right, how to heal through conflicts in relationships.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say number one, let go of people who don't do you any good, right? It's pretty clear. Sometimes it takes a while to really come to that realization. The other thing, this was one of the hardest things for me, is when you have depression, you want to isolate. And it took me a while to get to a place where I could trust people again. And when I did, and I started, seeing therapists, coaches, healers, I mean, everyone, because I knew there was a part of me that just knew that giving up was not an option. So I kept finding solutions. So number two, I would say, is don't give up. No matter where you are, don't give up. Number three is find help, because I'm a big believer that, especially when we're talking about the relational wounds, the wounds happen in relationships, and the healing must also happen in relationships. Not the same relationships, but with people who are sane, safe, and can safeguard your heart, and who have done the work. Being in community, working with coaches, therapists, healers, whoever you're called to work with, I highly, highly encourage you to reach out, because I tried for the longest time to get through this by myself. I'm like, oh, I know how to meditate. I'll just, sit on the cushion and I'll meditate. Meditated. Now, don't get me wrong, it all helped. I think it kept me alive, and it started to really open up those doors for a different perspective. But when I got to a place where I was then willing to take the next step and willing to trust people to help me, that's when everything just clicked. The doors opened, and I just healed so much faster than doing it all on my own. So I would say those are the big three.
Great. So just to resume, let go people, don't give up ever, and find help, right?
Yeah.
Great. And I would love to add one that helps me always, that is trying to see the blessing behind that conflict. There's always a blessing behind a conflict, always, even if it takes you a lot of time to find and realize what was the blessing, right? But there is always a gift. So just give it a chance. Whenever a conflict comes, if you are saying, no, there's no blessing here, Alma is crazy, just give it a chance. Perhaps there's a blessing for me in this conflict. Maybe today, maybe tomorrow, maybe in 10 years, I will realize which one is. But open your heart and open your mind. So, because when you switch things, right, when you give more amplitude and more vision about one thing. There's a conflict, and maybe you open a little bit, the margin that, the conflict can be the conflict, but there's something a little bit like this about the blessing. You switch the way you perceive the conflict, and it comes easier.
We come to acknowledge an event as something beneficial, positive, something that we learned from, only after the healing has happened.
Exactly.
But to put that perspective before the healing has happened, we're skipping a whole lot of steps.
Yes.
So I just want to really, touch on that nuance. As you focus on you and doing the deeper work, you will naturally come to that place of accepting what has happened and it not triggering you. And then looking back, I'm like, oh, now I'm like, this is my life's work because of that experience.
Exactly.
So now I can be thankful of it. But that was a lot of years between the incident and now, right? And I couldn't have just forced it to happen. I just had to take my time. So just a different, slightly different perspective there.
No, and you are right. Through the process is during the time you acknowledge what is happening and what is coming, or this conflict is bringing for you. While I was depressive and while I was in my bed, just staying downtown maybe all day long and eating, chips and those things during 2 years and gelling and always irritating, of course, I couldn't see the gift, right?
Right.
And that part of the process, it was like a different kind of the conflict, right? Because you have the conflict and then all the effects of the conflict can perhaps be a more bigger conflicts, right? But what I'm trying to say and what I'm trying just to, to get your idea and to build from your idea is, of course, there's like a period that you don't see what brings to you, right? And you need to never give up, keep the faith in yourself and in the experience itself, and just be open to perhaps when you are ready to see what that brings you, right? And yeah, that's it, what I wanted to add.
Exactly. And when you're ready, the right teacher will show up and will help you.
Great. So, Swathi, this interview is like amazing. You gave us 3 suggestions about how to heal and how to look differently to conflicts, and that a conflict can also be transformative, right? Now you have a very transformative life, and the way you are related, I am pretty sure that you are related in a different way with the people now that compared to 20 years ago. So conflicts always help us if we are open and if we work through the conflict in us, I think.
Yes.
So, well, we are saying almost goodbye to this program and interview. We ran out of the time. It was very, very fast to be here with you. I was super happy being sharing this program with you and this new experience for us, for Apetito por la Vida. And well, we have a wonderful, wonderful event that we want to share. And well, Swathi, I'm going to give you the microphone so you can invite us, because we are going to celebrate from October 30 to November 3rd, Love Mastery event. So
yeah, absolutely. Yes. Thanks, Alma. Yes, I am putting together this event and bringing a whole host of speakers, Alma included. So come check her out. She is going to be one of the guest speakers at this event. The event is called Love Mastery, and it is to help singles find their love, their lifetime companion. So if you are going through the healing stages like we talked about, or if you feel like, I just want to give up. I don't know if I want to risk opening my heart again. Or maybe you're ready to take the next step. Okay, well, great. I've done the healing. I've, gotten all the help. Now I'm ready to take the next step. Come check us out. We're going to deep dive into some of these topics that we talked about today. And we're going to have daily guided meditations. We're going to have some amazing heart wisdom, amazing speakers, a wonderful Facebook community. And I would love to see you all there. The event is from October 30th through November 7th. And November 3rd. Yeah. And follow me on Instagram. It's called Relationships with Ease, one word. And I will be posting all of the event details and the registration link, which is probably going to open in about a week to 10 days. So best way to get all of that is to check me out on Instagram.
Great. We're not going to miss it. And thank you for the invitation. I am going also to participate in this beautiful project from Swathi, Love Mastery. And well, I'm super happy, and I want you to help me because I want to talk about relationship with food and body. So please give me your thoughts and your questions. What would you like me to give you in that conference about loving our bodies as a relationship also, and the food, because there's like a big conjunction between body, food, and love. So everything that you need about this event and about Swathi information is in Relationships with Ease at Instagram. So you can find everything there, and also in my social media, Ama tu cuerpo con alma. I'm gonna put all the things here in the box so everybody can have the links. And well, thank you, Swathi, for inviting us, and thank you for joining me in this beautiful conversation about relationships, conflicts, and body.
Yeah, thank you, Alma. This was so beautiful. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And well, this is not going to be the first time, so don't miss other interviews that we're going to have between Swathi and me. And well, I want also to invite you to visit me in all my social media, Ama Tu Cuerpo con Alma. I help people to body acceptance, to understand what are the mental and emotional beliefs so they can gain weight and how to liberate that, right, from all your bodies, as we said, the mental, the physical, and the emotional. And well, that is one part of my job, because I really think that if we love ourselves and if we love our bodies, we can do whatever we want in life. So visit me, Ama Tu Cuerpo con Alma. And also, thank you everybody that got this interview in your radio or in the video or wherever you watches us. It was wonderful. And well, I'm gonna say goodbye in Spanish. So, muchísimas gracias a todos por sintonizarnos en Apetito por la Vida. Los esperamos la próxima semana y les recuerdo, como siempre, tener mucho apetito por la vida. Mi nombre es Alma González y nos vemos la próxima semana. Les mando un fuerte abrazo. Thank you, Swathi. See you soon.
Thank
Love you, everybody. Bye-bye. Bye.
Están escuchando Radio Pasión US, seduciendo tus sentidos.
He's so sexy.